this content is for kids.
It's not for kids.
Isn't that what I said?
No, it's not for kids. If you are 13 years or younger, this is not for you. Do I have to kill somebody in order to actually make that point across?
No, man, you don't have to kill no one.
Wait a second.
Oh, no.
When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. This is Kotobuki Jake.
Hey.
And we're here to show you what we got.
Know what they got?
Or they got. Yeah, well, some of it.
We'll tell you what we got tomorrow.
Yeah, some of the stuff that we are planning to get, for sure.
Yes. Yeah, oh yes.
So,
I know there's one item that we'll probably both have on the priority for this one.
as per usual, no Gundam.
Oh.
But we do have some stuff that we think you'll really like right now. Well, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of wonderful. Of course, for those of you who don't want to sit here for the hour to 2 hours this thing tends to run these days, I always like to have that slideshow up front. But for those of you who want a more
You
in-depth
should
look,
anyway, because it'll be fun.
yeah, like I say, if you want a more in-depth look, though, and our general thoughts as to the releases, we're going to go ahead and show you, of course, our board. For those of you who are new here, we rank all of these as sort of like a combined ranking as to how we feel. And we tend to take what we have, take the sum, and round down of our rankings, except for the top and the bottom slots, because really those are the top and bottom slots. We got to make sure we both agree on those. So we have bottom. Hell no, we'll never own. Meaning, even if they gave it to us for free, we would just toss it right back in their faces.
That's right. What are you talking about? Free? That's paying too much.
Oh, that's fantastic. How do you turn your face so red so fast?
Then there's meh. No interest, but willing to own. You know, get it free or like insanely cheap, like at the Dollar Tree. Maybe that would be a way of grabbing it. Curious would get it. So, you know, the other one is like, if, you know, curious would get if the price is right. You know, maybe not Dollar Tree, but like if it was like 5, 10, maybe even 15, you see it, you might want, you know, those things that you see in the store and you go, it might be interesting. I got some money in my pocket.
Buys.
Yeah, exactly. Then there's yes please, which means you look at this item and say, hey, we got it on our wish list. I'm putting this on my wish list. I don't want to pay $300 for that Persona 5 set right now, but if it goes on sale, maybe I'll get it.
It will be mine. Well, yes, it will be mine.
It will be mine. Oh yes, it will be mine.
And then there's the priority, which is, I don't care what price it is right now, I need to get it as soon as I can get money in the bank to buy this bad boy.
Shut up and take my money.
So, we got a lot going, and I've got one more on my list than you do this time around, so I'll go ahead and I'll start us off.
Well, if it's all right, real quick, I want to go ahead and throw a bone to the folks, because we're always telling them about the lack of Gundam. But if you want some Gundam, check out Rightstuf's birthday sale. They got a whole bunch of it on sale right now.
Buy all our playsets and toys.
Actually, you'll see at least one. Well, you'll see at least one pickup from that sale on the pickups this week.
Right, nice.
So, let's see here. So I guess we're going to start with the amazing Mr. No Legs. This time I actually took the forethought of looking through and making sure that you can buy these things.
All right.
Because some of these, like, they say that they're on sale, but, you know.
You know.
You know. Okay, so that's SpongeBob SquarePants. That's exactly what I mean when I like that. Blu-ray.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
I don't think the amazing is actually part of the title. That actually, but when I looked on IMDb, I found it under Mr. No Legs.
Let's see here. There we go. Mr. No Legs. So, oh yeah, because you see it says The Amazing there.
Yeah.
Trick title there.
It is trick title.
Now, that is a really awesome looking cover there, though. You know,
yeah.
I mean, you got this guy sitting here, and he's getting ready to open fire from his loaded wheelchair, and the police, and somebody with a gun there, sun in color there. I'm guessing that's the, I guess it's a reversible cover.
Right.
From Massacre Video, you know.
Yeah.
Wow, he's doing his push-ups on his wheelchair.
Oh.
So it doesn't really take much of a guess to find out what this is about, but Double Amputee Mr. No Legs may not seem like much of a threat at first, but cross him and you'll see why he's Florida's ruthless drug kingpin, D'Angelo's deadliest enforcer. With his unique martial arts mastery and shotgun-wielding wheelchair, Mr. No Legs is virtually unstoppable, but when a henchman kills the sister of a straight-shooting cop, D'Angelo's whole enterprise may come undone and threaten to bring Mr. No Legs down with it. Well, so...
Wait. It's directed by the co-creator of Flipper?
Yep. And the star of Creature from the Black Lagoon. So you got some cool stuff there. And, I don't know, 22 seems like a bit much for this, as far as I'm concerned. But I can't, like, you know, see this and not go, like,
Exactly.
That just has got to be a curious on this for me. Now, where is it for you?
I am highly curious.
I mean, shotgun wielding wheelchair.
I know.
that just over.
No, I love it.
That's something I would definitely pick out. If I saw like $14 at Walmart, I'd grab it.
Right. I almost put that one on my list, but then I was like, maybe not. But, you know.
So, what you got for us?
My next one is I guess this is a complete series collection of 12 monkeys. So this is, I guess, a 4-season collection. Does that sound right?
I'm not sure how many seasons this has.
Yeah, IMDb lists 4 seasons.
So it would have to be then all of them.
Right.
Let's see here.
Let's see what we got on the item description here. Deleted scenes, gag reels, webisodes. Ooh, good times. So basically, this is a man from the post-apocalyptic future. I don't know why I couldn't say that, but anyway, Cole is sent in the past to eradicate the source of a deadly plague that was released supposedly by a group calling itself the Army of the 12 Monkeys. At least I borrowed that last part from the movie. I've seen the movie. I've never seen the show. I love the movie. It's a classic Terry Gilliam film from the mid-90s. This is one of many recent adaptations of older material that I heard about it, and I was like, isn't that nice? I had no idea they'd gone through 4 seasons in the meantime.
Mill Creek's releasing it.
What's that?
Mill Creek is releasing it. I have some issues with Mill Creek because they like to use spools and those little paper slips in there.
This looks like a cool collection. But I do wonder with Mill Creek, it does make me worry a little bit. I saw the cover, I'm like, that dude looks familiar. He's the dude what played Pyro in the X-Men films, so that's kind of cool. I am definitely curious, but I would actually mark this as a yes, please. It would have to be a really good price, but I do intend to get it.
Yeah, it's on my wish list. It's been on my wish list for a while, so definitely a yes, please. Not a priority. Like, I'm not going to go out and drop $45 on this thing right now, but it's not a bad price, really, because you're paying little over $10 a season. That's not too bad.
It's not bad at all, no.
So, it took me a while to find one of these for this one, but Bloodshot is back with a 4K steelbook.
Really? This is a steelbook release?
Yes.
Oh.
And, you can see these prices. I had to find it on here. And it's not a bad cover. If I can get it to load. Load, darn you. But look at that. That's not a bad cover right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
this isn't like an exclusive release. This is a generalized release?
I think it's an exclusive, but I don't know where it's being released to. There's the one there. But it is a... It must be somewhat exclusive because it's hard to find. You can't find it on Amazon. I couldn't find it on Target or Walmart. It just was... But I found it here on eBay. And $40's not terrible for a 4K Steelbook edition if you really love the film.
You really love it. To me, that's too rich for my blood for most films.
That was the only
There are
one.
exceptions, but very few.
That's a cool thing, though.
Yeah.
If you've read the comics, it was real. I love the comics, and it's like one of, I think, Valiant's few comics that I really liked. To me, it's a yes, please. Maybe not in the Steelbook, but the movie itself is definitely a yes, please for me. Where would you put it?
Well, granted, we've already covered this one, right?
Yeah.
The regular release.
Yep.
So when we do this, where there's a second format release, should there be a different vote for the format, or?
Well, I mean, again, it might be that your mind might have changed in the time period between. You might have said, you know.
I'm still going to go. I think I went curious before. I'll still say curious.
So we'll go down to curious, and we're there. You're up.
Okay. I have a documentary called 1275 Days. And I had never heard of this before. It's a release from 2019. I don't know how good it'll be as a documentary, but I'm fascinated by the backstory. Did you actually look into this one?
I didn't, because you were covering it.
Okay. Well, okay. So this is the IMDb synopsis, and remember, this is based on actual events. On October afternoon in Elkhart, Indiana, Blake Lehman and 4 friends decided to break into a neighbor's presumably unoccupied house. They knocked on the door to ensure no one was home, then entered with intent to burglarize. After being inside several minutes, they were startled by the homeowner coming downstairs and opening fire. Unarmed and terrified, the boys attempted to retreat. After being shot in the leg, Blake hid in the closet with his friend Denzel, who was shot in the chest. While hiding, Denzel died in Blake's arms. Blake and the other 3 surviving boys were arrested, charged, and ultimately convicted of Denzel's murder. And so basically, one boy got a plea bargain. The other 3 are serving time for murder because their friend was killed by a homeowner defending his home.
Yeah.
To me, that's all sorts of messed up. I mean, I understand the whole idea of being able to defend your turf, but it may be a manslaughter charge, but murder? That's absurd. So I really want to see this and see what they have to say about it. It sounds very intriguing. I'm not sure I would quite put it at the level of a yes, please, because I'm not sure I would consider it I won't be able to rest easy until I see it, but I am very, very curious.
Yeah, I can go with curious, because this documentary, especially with what's going on these days, it's always interesting to see what's what. Well, we have another fun film called Body Cam.
Sounds like a riot.
Well, let's see if I got it. Apparently, I do not got it.
I think if I saw, your picture you put up was specifically of the DVD, so I wonder if it's a DVD-only release.
It could be. Body Cam, DVD. Let's try that. Yep, there it goes.
There you go. Huh.
So, Body Cam must have been one of the ones that I found, elsewhere, because Blu-ray.com is great, but Blu-ray.com does not cover DVD-only releases.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, well, I guess, when you call yourself Blu-ray.com. Mary J. Blige, Nat Wolff.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this, by the cast.
So, let's see here. While investigating the bizarre murder of a fellow officer, veteran Renee Lamito discovers a mysterious figure in the body cam footage. Haunted by visions of the event, she suspects something supernatural is targeting the cops in her unit. As the attacks escalate, she must race against time to uncover the mystery behind those killings in an intense action thriller starring Nat Wolff. So you kind of see all the stuff over here. So kind of a weird supernatural.
So I'm going to guess, is this like a found footage sort of thing, but with a cop twist to it?
Maybe. But I don't know. I don't think it is, because it doesn't look like a found footage there. Not what you're seeing, but it could be a mixture. Because there are some that do mixtures of those. It's enough to make me curious about it. What about you?
Right. I want to say curious, but IMDb's description makes me think it's going to be a little more. It says grisly images and that sort of thing. I'm going to go with meh, but I might give it a go if I need more information. So, speaking of getting information, I have another documentary for you folks, and this is one that looks very intriguing. It's a movie called Animation Outlaws, an interview-style documentary film in the style of Electric Boogaloo, the wild, untold story of Canon Films about two hippie friends who set out to create the first of its kind animation festival and end up helping to start the rise of the animation industry and launch the careers of the artists and directors who run it. And it's about who are these dudes? I know, why can I not find that? It's about Craig Spike Decker and Mike Gribble, aka Spike and Mike, and they created the Spike and Mike Festival. That's appropriate. But the film features such eclectic folks, some very intriguing folks. Seth Green, Pete Docter, Andrew Stanton, Weird Al Yankovic, Nick Park, Peter Lord, Will Vinton. I mean, some of these are really big names in animation. And then you got Yankovic, who's dabbled in it. And I, of course, being a fan of documentaries and a huge booster of animation in general, I consider this one I will have to see. I'm going to say yes, please.
Yeah, it's not a bad price, $13.29. To me, it's just a curiosity, but I can understand where you're at on it.
Right.
So, the next up is Book Week.
Book Week.
Must be like the sequel to Shark Week.
It must be.
There it is. One of the favorites right there. Let's see here. Budding author Nicholas Cutler has been waiting 44 years of his life to start. Well, the version of the lives he's forever played out in his mind, not inspired one fate. Okay.
Not the insipid one.
Not the insipid one. Fate has dished him. A self-professed, undiscovered literary genius, Cutler has been wanting so long for the dream to become reality that his strength of mind is starting to crack. Not even the serial womanizing and long boozy nights can suppress the discouraged high school English teacher's artistic suffering anymore. However, just when it looks like he may have to accept a life unfulfilled ambitions and failure, it seems Coulter's ship might just have come in when his new book, World War Z, attracts the interest of respected publishing house. He simply has to be on his best behavior for weeks so as to not mess it up, which happens to coincide with the school's annual Book Week festivities. You know, though this is kind of based on, this is based on a true story there. It's, you know what it reminds me of just looking at it?
Mm-hmm.
Sideways.
A little bit.
It just has a sideways feel to it, almost nihilist feel.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody knows how much I love Sideways.
Wasn't he an English teacher in that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
So one could see this being like a sort of parallel universe take on the same character in a way.
I give it a curious for me. I just can't boost it above.
I'm curious. Yeah, I would have put it on my list if I was more excited about it, but I wasn't. But I'm curious.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So the next up, I guess, is Bacurau?
Was that an anime? I can't remember.
No, it's not.
Nope. Oh, well.
I believe it's a Kino release, if I'm remembering correctly. Bacurau. I may have seen.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep, Kino.
Sakura. Oh, well, this is, wow, this is much more recent than I thought it was. After the death of her grandmother, Teresa comes home to her matriarchal village in a near-future Brazil, to find a succession of sinister events that mobilizes all its residents. So it came out early this year, apparently.
Got a decent amount of special features.
Yeah. And then you got, is this yes, Brazilian, Portuguese, and English. I think this sounds fairly interesting. It doesn't sound... I'm not seeing anything here that makes me think it's going to be overly bloody. Yeah. It doesn't sound like it's going to be overly bloody. I think this could be worth a look. I'll go curious.
I'm in there with you on that. Alright.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Right along.
So, we get to see more from the world of Boruto.
Ooh.
Which, by the way, all of the series except for this release is on sale on the birthday sale from the page you're looking at now.
Uh-huh. I am? Oh, there we are.
Well, yeah, Rightstuf.
I didn't even think to look at that.
Yep.
Well,
they're about
maybe I've
25
got
a set, so you know.
What's that?
They're about 25 a set.
Yeah. So it's a little more than it was before.
Yeah.
I can wait for it to come back down.
So let's see here. I believe set 6 right there. So set 6, it's a little bit harder to... I got a little bit PO'd by the fact that there's no 6 on here. You notice?
Not at all.
It says Matsuki's Will. That's all it identifies it.
Well, that's silly.
I mean, you can see set
Where's
6 on the
set 6
back
on-
right
yeah.
here. But it goes to episode 79. This continues the Naruto storyline. I haven't seen any Boruto other than the movie. I do own the first 3 sets, which may be I may own a little bit more later on, like not that much later on. But I've heard some people like it, some people don't. I've heard it's a lot more lighthearted than Shippuden, which makes sense because of the age of the kids there. But my guess is it's a lot closer to the original. But the stakes were not as high. But then again, I've heard some pretty high-edge stuff has been happening recently from it. But I'm hoping that once they do end Boruto, that's the last, that they're going to be at that well. I mean, God. I think they're going to go to his son, and then that guy's son, and they just keep going.
Well, yeah, I don't think they can quite do that. Now, I could see, and you'd probably be on board with this, if they then shift the focus and do it on Rock Lee's family or whatever.
Well, though I will wait, it will be mine eventually. Oh, yes.
Right.
So it will be in the... do I have it up here? Did I not
You
get it?
should. I could have sworn you did. Maybe you don't.
I thought I had it on here.
That's just silly. I could have sworn you did.
It might not have loaded. I mean, I had a whole bunch of them to load, so it's very possible that it didn't load in here. I'm looking here. Well,
No, I don't see it.
yeah, I don't see it. But
Well, use your imagination, people.
I would have normally put it up here in the yes please for me.
And as will I.
Okay.
Yes. Alright. My turn?
Yep.
Now,
I gotta look.
keeping it for a moment with the lighthearted, we have a movie called Castle in the Ground, which has sort of a middling IMDb rating, but
I guess I did.
basically, after the untimely death of his mother, a teenager befriends his charismatic but troubled next-door neighbor, It becomes embroiled in a world of addiction and violence just as the opioid epidemic takes hold of their small town. And this is written and directed by Joey Klein. Co-stars Imogen Poots and Nev Campbell. So I'm fairly intrigued by that. And I have to admit, even though it has a middling IMDb rating, some of the user reviews are pretty solid, and this is subject matter that is going to be difficult to watch, but if it's handled well, I tend to be impressed by those films. I think it's worth a look, so I'll definitely say curious.
I'm not a little curious on it myself.
Yeah.
So, under normal circumstances, you would cover every Criterion release, but I am pulling the ownership of the show card for this one because of the subject matter.
I can't imagine why you would want to do this one.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Yes.
But Bruce Lee is getting a Criterion collection.
Yes, he is.
And on it are The Big Boss, Fist of Fury, Way of the Dragon, Enter the Dragon, and Game of Death.
Mm-hmm.
Not certain if Game of Death 2 is included on here, which would be the only one really missing, but I will tell you right now, you're not missing much.
It is. It is listed as one of the bonus features.
So there you go. So
they have a lot of bonus features.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of good stuff. I mean,
oh yeah.
And I'm a big Bruce Lee fan. So I've been that way since I was a child. It's just awesome, and it's probably some of the most realistic martial arts.
And I believe, did you not put this forward at one point as something Criterion needs to release?
I did say a Bruce Lee collection, I think, somewhere in there.
Right.
And that's a must, I would say. Actually, I can tell you right now because it's on my list right here. Of course, you've got our movies that should have won, actors who should be on here, Criterion. Let's see here. No, actually, it was not on here. Unless it was.
And it wasn't later on? Collections, there you go.
Collection.
Oh, it might have been one we mentioned in passing.
Maybe. There's Ang Lee. Same thing.
Yeah.
Actually, many people might look at Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon as similar, but I don't think so. They're very different.
Well, they are totally different. Like, this is honest to God, straight up martial arts. Like, there is a story, and they're generally entertaining films, but very different. Because
you've been showing off some of the ones that you have here, I do own Bruce Lee. For the first time, this is joining the rest, but there was a reason for why this has been separate from all the other releases, because Enter the Dragon was a Warner Brothers release, and
be right back.
Yeah, the rest of them were by what is it? God, what was the studio's name? But it's a Chinese studio, and I have this collection, which is not a bad collection. It's got pretty much all the other films, including Game of Death 2 on it. But it doesn't have a lot of what they call it special features. So one thing to note, and you might not know this, of course, The Big Boss was originally released here as Fist of Fury, and Fist of Fury was released as The Chinese Connection. And so people who really like Bruce Lee can get confused. It's just like Way of the Dragon, I believe, was also a different name. But still, it's just kind of cool to. I like this set, but it is not the same. So let me see here if I can. Where is it? Okay, I'll put that back on here for you. And I will tell you right now that this, for me, is a priority.
Yes.
Criterion. The only reason why I haven't gotten it yet is because it releases this month, and from what I have read, the rumors are that the Criterion sale will start on the 10th.
It will. I was told this by a gentleman at Barnes & Noble. They will start on the 10th.
So that is worth waiting for, but I will tell you right now, it will be in my cart. Oh, yes, it will be mine. Now, I don't know, you'll probably drag it way down when you say hell no or something, right?
Oh, hell no. No, it's a priority. I will be getting this, if not on the 14th and soon thereafter.
I mean, it's just to me, Bruce Lee is just an essential for anybody who likes martial arts whatsoever. It really is there. If you like Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
I mean, Way of the Dragon.
Yeah, no, he had a fun little role in there. And I do have to admit that, like, I am a really bad movie collector. I have very, very little Bruce Lee in my collection. But that's all the more reason to jump on this one. And go to Criterion's page. They have a crap load of features for this. And it looks like it will be well worth getting. Of course, it'll take forever to get through that collection. There'll be yet another collection that'll be sitting there unwatched.
Actually, I might prioritize watching that when I get it. I don't know what it is about those, but they're just freaking awesome. We need to cover them. We need a martial arts month for Inside Movies Galore.
Right.
August.
Surprised we haven't had that. You know, it's been recommended once or twice, hasn't it?
I can't remember.
And also, and also one of the themes I plan to put forward will include Bruce Lee under its purview, or could theoretically. Does it go?
Yep.
All right. Now the next one I think I do actually have, but this is once again a fancy, in this case, shiny release that is probably very well worth looking at if you have not actually seen the movie, and that is Amy Heckerling's classic 1990s comedy Clueless, which is getting there's the Steelbook edition?
No,
I did not know this.
It's a different date here, but...
I like the cover on that. That's kind of fun.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's the one that's releasing on the 25th.
Yes, this is the problem. So the Steelbook's a week later?
So it looks like you're getting a preview of things yet to come.
Right. So for those of you who are not familiar, the basically IMDb says shallow, rich, and socially successful Cher is at the top of her Beverly Hills High School's pecking scale. Seeing herself as a matchmaker, Cher first coaxes two teachers into dating each other, etc., etc. It is basically she's kind of clueless, but it's a fun movie. It really is.
Special features there.
Yeah, it's got a lot of special features. Not like as many as that Bruce Lee one, but, a fair number. I'm kind of intrigued and also horrified by the one that says suck and blow a tutorial. You wouldn't see that on Bruce Lee. But, one day they need to release the series. They never have put that on physical, have they?
I don't think they have. I tell you one thing.
That.
I don't have this movie, and I do want it in my collection.
Right.
It wasn't the best in the world. It's not one I'm going to prioritize or like. I don't know.
I'm going to call it a yes, please, because.
Yeah, that Steelbook is a nice deal for that.
Is that 16 for the Steelbook?
16.44. And shoot, the Blu-ray's not terrible either.
That's very tempting. That's very, very tempting. But anyway, yeah, so again, if you have not gotten this yourself, it is an essential for the movie collection. So, like I said, it's definitely yes, please.
Yeah, I give it that. I can't say I'll necessarily be going for it like right as it's released, but I've definitely got my eye on it. Because I need to have it in my collection. Alright, let's see here. So, we had some pretty cool ones that we knew, and now back
and on
to
that same level of quality.
It's like I'm sitting there with ones I know and all this, and then back to okay. When I first saw this, it reminded me of that Turkish Rambo cover. Day of the Warrior. So Yeah. Let's see. Does it have 3 beautiful federal agents go undercover to investigate a diamond smuggling, art theft, pornography ring run by a criminal mastermind known as the Warrior? I don't know if my diamond smuggling and pornography need to be mixed too much. I don't know about you, but I tend to. I don't.
And art, whatever that one was.
Maybe they're like they're wearing the diamonds on the porno, and the art's in the background of the stuff. So then what they do is like when people watch, they buy the pornos, and then they can see the product subtly in the pornos, and then they bid on the product secretly. You see, that's how they do it.
It does have an impressive 3.7 rating on IMDb.
Oh, very impressive. To me, that's a curious, kind of a low curious, but still a curious.
Yes, I have to admit. I would say meh, but there's just enough absurdity to this whole package. Yeah, I'm going to say low curious.
All right.
Yes. So, a film that will feature a different type of boobies. We have a movie that apparently is a new release from Valentine's Day, of all things, called Felong Gogong, a.k.a. Enter the Fat Dragon. I wonder if they intentionally are putting this out on the same day as the Bruce Lee one, probably. Even though the cover almost looks like it's intended to evoke Kill Bill in a way. But this is actually a Donnie Yen film. Donnie Yen in a fat suit, apparently.
Well, and Kill Bill, they use the suit to as a reflection of Game of Death. So it does have the Bruce Lee connection. Right.
So basically, Falon Chu, who's played by Donnie Yen, is a cop assigned to a case of escorting a criminal to Japan while dealing with relationship problems, and his enormous change in appearance as a result of being dumped. So, on the one hand, this could be a fat joke gone horribly wrong, and I don't know about that. But also, I'm seeing comparisons to Jackie Chan movies, and I've seen a little of Donnie Yen, and I have a good deal of a feeling that he could do this well. If it does have a Jackie Chan vibe, I might enjoy it quite a bit, actually. So, I'm definitely curious.
That's a high curious. Almost yes, please, for me, because I want that in my collection, but
yes.
It gets downgraded to the curious. So, let's see. So, my next one. Alright, let's see here. One I'm sure you would have grabbed up if I didn't grab it, but I have my reasons.
Oh, absolutely. I want this one.
So,
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think, the whole, for all of us.
Oh, it went down in price.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Iken, this is the DVD, though. Keep this.
Yes.
I've got the Blu-ray that I've ordered, which is a 2-episode series about really busty martial arts women.
Yes.
I mean, like, ridiculously so.
Right. It's based on a very, very long-running manga.
This is one of those that is supposed to be so bad it's good.
Uh-huh.
And it has just a reputation for being this terrible, you know.
Not to mention it was on that list we watched. They introduced us to Cat Soup, like the weirdest shows.
So I am, well, it's a priority because I knew as soon as it came out I had to have it on my pre-order. So for me it's a priority. I don't know about you.
Honestly, I'm torn. Like, if I was made of money, it would have been a priority, no question. But I'm not. And I can't bring myself to pay $15 for this series. But on the other hand, it's a definite yes, please, no doubt about it. But I think by your rules, I can't say priority.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it has to be because for me, it has to be the priority because I have already pre-ordered it and had to get. Because I mean, the first set is out of print, badly out of print. So I wanted to make sure that I got this one foothold wise. All right.
Okay. Next up. All right, next up we have the next in the Kino Lorber series, Film Noir, The Dark Side of Cinema. And we have this time a 3-movie collection. This is set 4. And we have the movies Calcutta from 1946. This is a John Farrow film starring Alan Ladd and others. Then we have An Act of Murder, 1948 film from Michael Gordon, which has Friedrich March. And then we have Six Bridges to Cross from Joseph Pevney that stars Tony Curtis. There's a lot of other folks too, but those are the ones I think it was Six Bridges that also starred Sal Mineo. I'd have to double check on that. But, I like film noir. I like the look of these sets. I would like to maybe get the collection. And if Kino does a really nice sale on these sets, I will definitely look into that.
That'd be cool to have.
Yeah, they would be cool to have. But I definitely can't prioritize them. And in all honesty, I'm probably going to have to go Curious overall.
Yeah, I'm in that area myself. It's just so much of an investment right there. If I was a huge film noir junkie, it would be different.
Yeah.
I'd be like on top of these sets as they come out because I wouldn't want them to go, Well, I mean, the Kino. So Kino does sales. I'd probably wait for the first Kino sale, but I would have my eye on it. But I'm not a huge film noir person, but I would definitely be. Curious, definitely. Right. So this next one is an anime, and I have this one. So it is one that's just being re-released in the Essentials line.
Oh, the movie is included as well. I didn't notice that.
Complete series and the movie. So Fafner.
It's not a bad package.
And the movie Heavens and Earth, $22. It is a 26-episode series. With most Earth destroyed by hostile aliens, humanity's survival relies on a team of young pilots determined to protect the only home they know. Their leader, Kazuki, risks it all in an explosive battle over the fate of humankind. So this is this is a mecha series, it looks like. Now, I mean, I own the series. And if you really want to see what the release looks like that I own the beautiful Save Edition, which is the same thing. I mean, don't expect anything different other than the cover for the Essentials release. All it is just a rebranding of their save. But,
and your edition has the movie as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's like I say, identical.
Okay.
So, I'll turn this back over
Good
for
times.
you. All right.
That is one that has been on my radar, but I haven't gotten around to getting it. I'm on the border between Yes Please and Curious. I feel like it's one of those titles I must get, but I don't have a strong affection for it, so I guess I'll say Curious.
See, mine is on the Curious end because how I picked it up was a Curious. It was under $10, so I picked it up. So, yeah. Even though I own it, it's still,
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not the same lofty levels of quality as Aiken, obviously.
Oh, no, not at all, obviously.
Now, this one supposedly is. We have, if I recall correctly, this is an Arrow release coming out this week of the film Hiroshima, 1955 film from Hideo Sekigawa. And IMDb simply says brilliant and extremely realistic retelling of the day in Hiroshima, the day the bomb dropped. Sounds enjoyable, doesn't it?
Very intriguing, though.
It has a whopping 7.7 rating, but only 78 votes. I have to admit, this is one I'm probably going to have a very, 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 very hard time watching.
Oh, yeah.
And that, plus the fact that it's an Arrow release, it may very well go out of print before I make an effort to acquire it. But I really feel like it's one I should make some effort to get. I feel like it's one I should make some effort to see. But I'm going to have to go curious just because the likelihood of actually getting it's kind of low because I don't really want to see it.
Now, I will say, if you really want a good reflection anime-wise, and also is still one that I don't know is on your what was it called? I know it was
Barefoot Gen.
Yeah, Barefoot Gen. Barefoot Gen is one that, again, I think you would have trouble with, Jake, because of your thing, but I still feel like it's essential watching.
Yeah.
To me, though, if you can easily watch two children starve to death, I really don't see the difference between that and watching the horrors of the bomb.
No, there's a difference between starvation and physical.
Yeah, it's you get a sadistic cruelty out of the starvation thing.
No, and watching starvation's not easy either. Yeah, he of course likes to always throw my love of Grave and the Fireflies back at me. There's also a good depiction, and not as harrowing as Gan is supposed to be, but there's a pretty darn good depiction of it as well in this corner of the world. Yeah. But this one, it looks like it's essential viewing, but it does not look fun. But being an Arrow release, if I get a really good price on it, I may have to jump on it because those are out of print.
Arrow does have sales now and again, and you could, if you got it cheaply, it might be worth picking up.
I need to figure that out because when I finally tracked down a website for them, it just was weird.
So here's one that I know is going to be price prohibited for you, but oh, come on, it wouldn't let me do that. So let's see if I can get this, which is the Fatestaynight. Which is unfortunately a series that was picked up by Aniplex. Yeah. They are releasing all of their Unlimited Blade Works series on Blu-ray. This Blu-ray set right here. Now, it is an excellent series. Matter of fact, it is one could say that the original Fatestaynight series is its own thing, and you can watch that without any of the other series, and you're fine. Because theoretically, this one goes right along with the Fate Zero series. Right. And in a lot of ways, the Fate Zero series, you could say it's the prequel to the original series, but really and truly, it's the prequel to this retelling of the series. Right. And it is really good. Now, this is expensive. It's almost $200. Now, I did pick up a version of this back when it was cheaper, not really, but they have a cheaper DVD release, which may or may not be out of print. I don't remember. But, it's not as stylish, but it does its job. They still have a decent transfer. It's done in 2 volumes. And it was like $60 a piece, which is not great, but still, I mean, if you want to do if you want to try and get this as cheaply, this is probably the best route. But if you want to get it like,
I'm hoping my route works, which is to wait and see if it's on sale for $100 at Christmas.
I will keep my fingers crossed for you. But considering the prices of the other series don't really fall that low, I'm not gonna.
Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes, like, I ended up getting the for 90.
I'm just talking Fate in general, because some of the other box sets have been out for a long time.
I'm talking more like Aniplex in general. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes they can be iffy.
And they always seem to do limited prints of the Fate series. I don't know what that's about. But for me,
popular.
For me, it's a priority if I didn't have it. But because it is that good a series. To me, it has to be in the collection. If I had the money, and again, that's the thing. If I had the money available, or as soon as I got the money available, I would be buying it. But I already have the series, so I'm not. But I'm sure that yours would be more on the line of what? Yes, please?
Well, if I had the money, and money was no object, it would be a priority, but that's not the case. So,
it's not one of those you would save up money for.
It's not something I would save up for, no. So, yes, please.
And that's really more on my end, is it would have to be saving up for.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go.
All right, so what is next from me? We've got. Oh, you gave me the opera, didn't you?
Yeah, I figured you'd like that.
Yeah, except that I have no information at all about it. I know there's an opera coming out this week on Blu-ray release called Il Tabaro. I'll say I'm curious.
Did I turn back on the screen so you can see what I'm putting up?
I don't see it.
Let me see. Oh, that's because you're seeing me. Okay, there you go. Oh, still not seeing it, but you will now. There you go.
There we go. Oh, it's a Puccini opera.
Yes.
Well, I've heard good things.
I mean, there's the summary right there.
Right. So this is the new staging of the Teatro da Maggio Musicale Fiorentino. Il Tabaro is one of the 3 one-act operas that to compose Giacomo Puccini's Il Tritico. Michelle is married to young Giorgetta and shares with her a life full of hardships on a barge over the River Seine. She is in love with Luigi, a young longshoreman hired by her husband during the loading of the barge. When Michelle overhears his wife giving a rendezvous to Luigi by night, I like the wording there, giving a rendezvous to Luigi. He waits for the man and attacks him, forces him to admit he is his life's lover, and finally strangles him. Then he strangles him. Then he hides the body under his cloak, Il Tabaro. And when Giorgetta, in mortal fear, comes on deck and asks Michelle if he does not wish her to come and rest near him under his cloak, her wronged husband throws it open, and Giorgetta discovers in horror her dead lover's body rolling at her feet. That sounds pretty fun. I like this. I'll definitely say curious, if only because I have heard a lot about Puccini. I am no expert in opera, and I need to learn more. So.
All right, let's see here. I thought I had that one up here. Oh, okay.
Between porno and the one that looks like it's a porno. There you go.
How'd you get it?
I guess it's appropriate for an Italian opera about infidelity.
So where'd you put it?
Huh?
Where'd you put it?
Oh, like I said, curious.
Curious. Sorry, I was throwing something up back on the shelf.
Yeah.
For me, it's a meh. I'll watch it, but I'm not gonna. I mean, I rarely will pick out if I was at the Dollar Tree. But
okay.
I'm not gonna be like actively seeking it out. There are a few operas. There are a few that I would, but not all, by any means. So, speaking of Fate, there's a different one that's in a slightly more affordable range.
Because this one is released by Sentai.
So, this one is a slightly different set of series here. So there's 2 that are being released, And you can see what's out here, and I'm kind of glad that they're continuing to release them because not all of them are released. And of course, the first one is Fate Collide Linear Prisma Ilya Val in the Snow. Again, a side story. That's kind of I'm not even sure if it's a same dimension type thing.
I think this one's considered a movie. Yeah, it is a movie.
This one's a movie. Despite his adoptive father's warnings that the girl found in the remnants of the destroyed city is too dangerous to be considered anything other than a tool or a weapon, Shiro Emiya comes to treat Miyu as a young sister. But when Shiro relaxes his guard and Miyu starts normal school, the Ainsworth family and their agents swoop in and kidnap the girl with the goal of sacrificing her. So, I mean, it's a great price, so that's good. And then, of course, there's another one that's being released at the same time, which is the same one here, except it's Phantasm. Which I believe is another film, yep. OVA. There's one thing that the long-running Fatestaynight franchise has always been noted for. Its creative freedom and allows every new installment to develop its own unique take on the overall concept and base set of continuing characters. However, no matter how diverse many of the previous installments have been, you're almost certainly not going to be prepared for the non-stop surreal silliness and fever dream alternative concepts unleashed in this demented new OVA installment. And from what I recall, a lot of this is lighter-hearted anyway.
Yeah.
Now, for me, these are definitely priority. I can tell you right now because I have them pre-ordered. Price-wise, it makes them really easy for me to want to pre-order them because I have all the rest of it that's been released, so it has to be there.
Well, these are definitely yes, please for me.
So
I do not have them pre-ordered.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, unfortunately, Sentai's sale, which also, Sentai is doing a 4th of July sale.
It's weak.
It's fairly weak unless you are really into DVD releases. They do have some good deals for those.
Yeah, this is true.
I do have both of them.
I have the first installment of Fate Kaleid Liner Prismalia on DVD because it was dirt cheap and I got it really cheap. And so I've been torn ever since then. Do I want to convert that to Blu-ray and then continue on in Blu-ray, or do I want to do them all on DVD? I'd really rather do Blu-ray, and I don't want to split it. So one day I'll make up my mind. So next up, we'll be doing one that I own, and I should have thought to bring down my copy for comparative illustration, but I did not. And that is, of course, that they are finally, Viz Media is finally giving us Blu-ray sets for Inuyasha. They had already released the movies in a single 4-pack. They'd released the final chapter. Now they're finally releasing the series in Blu-ray. And this collection contains episodes 1 to 27. That doesn't sync up perfectly to those old sets, does it? Isn't this like
I'm not really sure what I have as considered one of the old sets because it's a condensed one. But this is my season
you have 7
one.
parts, right?
Yeah, it's still in the 7 parts. And 27. So
okay, so it's the same. But it would save you very little space, but it would save me a lot of space because I have those old school boxes. So it's very, very tempting to me. Plus, I'd like to see the show cleaned up. It is a pretty series in a lot of ways. It is Rumiko Takahashi, and she has a pretty cool art style. And it also, since I kind of want to update the final chapter to Blu-ray as well, this one, I'm going to go ahead and say it's priority because if I did not own it, I would be getting it. That is a pretty good price for what you're getting. And if you don't have it, I very, very much would recommend ordering this version. But, yeah, so I'm going to say priority.
I'm kind of in the middle of yes, please, and priority, mainly because the the price makes it to where I probably would pre-order it if I didn't have it. If it was any more expensive, like in the 40 range, it would definitely be a yes, please, because it would be I will wait. But for 27,
you're paying less than $1.50.
Yeah, like I say, for that I'm willing. Or if they'd split it into say, well, you know what? Why don't we see if we can really milk a series and split each season into 2 parts?
Well, they didn't, fortunately.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Which they could have done. The series has enough popularity.
Yeah.
But I guess they looked at the age. So I will agree with priority status for the way they've released it.
Yeah, even if they split it, it would still be a space saver, sadly.
Let's see here. All right. So I've got.
We had 2 priorities already. Oh.
Yep. Big day. So one that I know is going to be a priority for you is coming up. Or at least I'm sure that Mo and Dane would say so. Jungle Holocaust. Because, doesn't that look like it? AKA Last Cannibal World, Last Survivor. It is a...
Did you not put Bright Axiom on either of our lists?
Was it not on?
It's not on my list.
Let's see. It's not on the thing. Is that something that came out?
Yeah, you've got it right at the beginning of your thumbnails there on the bottom. Oh, in Bright Axiom. Maybe that's why I wasn't seeing it.
Oh, let's see here. H-I...
Nope, still not on our list.
Oh, let's see here.
Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Well, I can throw that out. You can just grab that one next.
Okay, that works.
We'll even it out.
Yeah, this one's...
A small... Yeah, it's basically your typical cannibal Holocaust type movie. One of those where they push the edges of film creation to where they probably couldn't do it today. One previously banned, all of that sort of thing. Important for those of you who are looking to get some of these, previously banned movies. So, for that, it can be an important one. So let's see. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a hell no for you. So let's see.
I think that's a pretty solid possibility, but in fairness, I will. Okay.
Mine's more of a yes, please, but that's because it is one that is a necessity to have in the collection. I just don't know about the price right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with hell no on that one.
So that will go down to a meh. Alright.
Okay.
So.
Alright.
Now we'll get Bright Axiom.
Now, in Bright Axiom, and this was one I considered putting on my list, but anyway, so in Bright Axiom, summer 2019 release, under a code of absolute discretion, guests are invited into the House of the Latitude, a place where truth and fiction are indistinguishable. Imagine you're handed an invitation with an address and an access code, but little to no other information. Do you go inside? If you're brave enough to enter, what you'll find on the other side of the door, through dark mazes and down twisting slides, is the Latitude Society, a secret group of curious and creative minds brought together to create a transformative experience. So, like I said, this is essentially a documentary, but it sounds like it's an intriguing concept.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I would make of the film itself. It may be too trippy. I may even find it borderline disturbing, depending on how it... I don't know. I won't know until I see it. So I guess I'm curious.
I'm curious myself. I like that whole twisting slides and stuff that they're talking about. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's see here. Kiss of the Vampire.
Ooh.
So, Kiss of the Vampire. Yeah,
Do we know when that come out?
Well, it should come out next week.
You know what I mean, the proper release.
Yeah, this is July 14th.
Yeah, okay.
Collector's edition.
Yeah. I was meaning the actual release so I could look it up on IMDb, but anyway.
Oh, you mean the film? You mean the film itself?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that I cannot tell you. There's a lot of Kiss of the Vampire.
Yeah,
exceptionally well made and entertaining film. Films and filming lost on the way to their honeymoon. A young couple stumbles upon a mysterious family of vampires. And their unspeakably evil leader. When the wrong turn leaves newlyweds Marianne and Gerald Harcourt stranded in a remote Bavarian forest, they have no choice but to accept the hospitality of the hypnotic Dr. Ravna, distinguished lord of a nearby castle. All right, so well, looks like something I would be curious.
Right. It does look like it could be. Is this? Oh, okay, let's see. Like I said, I'm trying to find... Oh, here it is. So it is the one from 1963. 6.3 rating. Huh.
Let's kiss the blood with my hands. Did that one not get on here?
That might be worth looking at. I think, yeah, I'm going to go curious.
Oh, I guess I did not... it looks like it's not on here, but maybe it's like the...
maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah, here it is. It's under the Kiss of the Vampire.
Yep, there it is. It's a curious for me, definitely.
Yeah.
On that end. So... The next one up is yours, which is another
Next up
kiss.
is very easy. Kiss the blood off my hands. I swear we did this 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I think I said curious then. That's what I'm going with now.
Yeah, it's with COVID, with the thing going on, essentially. These release dates, they're definitely not set in stone by any means, and delays can be expected, and more than normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can go with curious on that.
Okay.
So, moving on to, let's see here, Kotobuki. That's a...
Kotobuki.
That sounds like an interesting thing. It's an anime.
I think it's Kotobuki. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, this cat, like, it wants to play, and if I don't stop to play with it, it yells at me and tries to scratch me, and that is not good.
You're rectifying that by putting the cat toy underneath your butt cheek so that he can play with the lore part of it.
Yeah, I can just...
And it's working.
I can.
Hey, it's his little fat self.
So, ruthless warlord Nobunaga Oda was once just a teenage boy beginning his path to greatness. Together with his younger brother and faithful lieutenants, they'll face succession, betrayal, and struggle that will transform them from boys to men. You know, like the band.
Yes.
And it's a Funimation release. It's expensive, as I'll get.
No, it's a first run release.
I'm sorry, but I'm barely curious by this. The premise doesn't really interest me all that much. It's an anime, and
yet another anachronistically twisted version of the Nobunaga Oda story.
They get fascinated by that story.
What's that?
Everybody's fascinated by that story there.
Yeah. Well, he is like a national legend, essentially, for them. But I'm curious, but I'm not overwhelmingly so. I'll get it when it's really cheap.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes on sale, like on that, and it's like But it's not one of those that goes on sale for like $25 and I want to get it. It would have to be one of those like those
like
essentials.
14.
Yeah, that go for $15. I would want to pick it up out of curiosity.
Exactly.
And that's if I'm not like looking at other things and going,
Right.
So, your go.
All right. I have a film from 1976. A film from Luchino Visconti called Le Nocente. And it's Tullio Hermil is a chauvinist aristocrat who flaunts his mistress to his wife, but when he believes she has been unfaithful, he becomes enamored of her again. It does star Giancarlo Giannini, who, if I'm remembering correctly, is... Let me double check here. I was not remembering that correctly. What do I know him from? I know him from something.
Yeah, I'm going.
And I cannot remember what it was.
This.
What?
This
What's
is the
that?
one who's been scratching me. Yeah, you're purring right now.
Hi, Mr. Anderson. Hi.
All right, back to that.
Yeah, okay. I'm just completely drawing a blank. I know that guy. For some reason, I was thinking, he was in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Good times. But anyway, we will go ahead and forget about that. It looks like it could be a movie that just plain annoys me. But it also looks like it could be a lot of fun. It's all in the tone and the execution, and it definitely has my curiosity, but I'm going to have to leave it at that for now. Just curious.
Mine is a meh on it. I have no interest in it, really, but I would watch it if... I wouldn't turn it down. So...
Okay.
Yep. All right, so... All right, let's see here. All right, so... We got some DC releases. One that's a re-release of something that we just talked about, but we'll get to that in a minute. Legion of Superheroes. Did you ever read any of the Legion of Superheroes books at one time? It's another one of those kind of young superheroes thing, and I mean, it's like I think Saturn Girl's there. It's more of one of those like space. Adventure ones. Sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess that's the way of looking at them.
IMDb is listing Superman, Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, Brainiac 5, Timberwolf, Bouncing Boy, Chameleon Boy, Phantom Girl. Yeah, you're right. Mostly basically the characters in the time travel heavy expansion for the DC game.
Yeah, like I say, it's more of the Legion. A lot of them are Legion or Legion of Legionaries, which again, it's sort of like the Guardians of the Galaxy / Starjammers of the DC universe.
But not as fun.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's debatable. I've never heard of this series before seeing this on here, but I mean, DC usually does decent with their releases, so it's got me curious.
I'm definitely curious. Yeah.
All right. Almost threw it in the meh.
You don't want to do that. Okay, so my next one is one called Mädchen in Uniform. At an all-girls boarding school, Manuela falls in love with a teacher to terrific consequences. This is a 1931 German film by Leontine Sagan and Karl Fröhlich, and it's got a decent rating on IMDb. But this is considered, quote, one of the earliest narrative films to explicitly portray homosexuality. And so much so that apparently the Nazis tried really hard to destroy the film.
Oh my.
And did not succeed, apparently. So I'm sure this one's right up Dane's...
I have to say, this is like one of those Well, I mean, we see similar, I mean, yeah, not to the Nazi levels, but we do see a lot of similar sentiment to that Nazi Germany style of wanting to destroy anything deemed offensive or there. I'm
definitely curious about this, if only because of the more backstory to it.
To me, with the backstory alone, it makes it kind of it doesn't make it a priority, but it makes it a yes please for me. So that would take it to a high curious, because I do want to. Early German cinema was amazing.
I could consider this. We could go ahead and say this is a yes please. I would not pay full price for it, but if Kingdom's got a really good sale going on,
that's what I say. I'm marking this as one that I'm going to keep my eye on, because early German cinema was amazing.
Some of them were. I think this was the same year that M came out, and that was a good one.
I mean, the quality is just amazing. Even during the Nazi occupation, a lot of the films were released. Yeah, a lot of them propaganda pieces, but there was a lot of quality in German cinema.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that it isn't now, but it's still.
Well, there is. Yeah.
But, still, if you're looking at something like just quality, German cinema is definitely the way to go.
I love how when you're looking at something with quality and you put the arrow back on Aiken.
Yes, like Aiken. When you're looking at Aiken as a film of quality.
Was that a little Freudian slip or something?
So I'm not going to take much time on this.
Yeah. This is the same as before, but without a figurine, right?
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Yeah.
That I can rate. The 16th one, him with the figurine. Right. So this one, notice the difference between this Lego DC Shazam Monster Magic and Monsters? Yeah.
Well, that automatically makes it a hell no, because who wants a Lego movie without a figurine?
And $2 more expensive too, apparently.
Wow. It is more. Wow, that's weird.
I mean, the movie itself, like last time, I would put it as a curious. I think you did that too.
I can't remember, but I think so, yeah.
So there you go.
But seriously, if we were rating the editions, I would have to say.
Like, what the heck is wrong with them? It's like, this one's fairer bones. I think we'll charge more for this one.
Right. Yep.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so next on my list is this one I'm kind of excited about. I'm actually covering two items, but they're related.
Yeah.
This is a series called The Magicians, and I do not know a great deal about this, but I've been seeing it checked in and out at the library, and I have been very curious. If I had more time, I would have already checked this out. After being recruited to a secretive academy, a group of students discover the magic they read about as children is very real and more dangerous than they ever imagined. And I don't really know most of the people involved in terms of the cast and whatever, at least none of the major ones. Although Mackenzie Aston is a name that's familiar to me, and seeing a couple of these others here and there. But Felicia Day's in it. Okay, and Cameron Manheim. Okay, but Felicia Day being in 4 episodes automatically secures this as a yes, please. They are doing a 5th season release this week, but they're also simultaneously doing a complete series release, which, yes, on the complete series, I am absolutely going to be looking for. Probably on Black Friday. If it's $20 or so, I'll get it.
So my vote will lower it to a curious, because it's a high curious for me. It's not one. It's one that if I see it for a good price, I may pick it up. But the whole series, not individuals.
Right.
But I'm not going to be like wish listing it or like throwing it out. So, yep. All right. So, bad. Okay, so let's see here. Another one that I'm not so familiar with. Nathalie, Escape from Hell. So sounds like fun. Looks like fun. Look at that
I don't know
beautiful
about that.
footage there. I think Dave would be like really into that. I mean, you got some
Yeah,
Nazi symbolism,
probably.
you got bondage, you got all this stuff here.
Doesn't look like she's escaping anything there.
When Russian doctor Patrika Gori falls foul of the Nazis, she finds herself imprisoned at Fort Stillberg, a luxury brothel for German top brass where women are overseen by sadistic SS officer Helga Hortz. Well, you know, it has to be a Helga. The doctor's medical skills bring her to the attention of the Nazi lieutenant Erich Muller, he was in Conan the Barbarian, huh? Who saves the lovely lady from becoming one of the establishment's hostesses by assigning her to the infirmary. It's a Nazi exploitation film. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, I have heard that phrase before, but not often. Mm-hmm. That alone has me curious. It's just such a ridiculousness.
I'm gonna have to go meh. I can't say I would never accept it, but I'm not looking for it.
Yeah, if Dave said we're doing this for our main show this week,
I'd probably watch it, but
and you found it at the Dollar Tree.
So once again, I'll be covering one that we've already covered. Shout Select's release of The Missing. I guess they pushed it back a couple of weeks. I think I said before that was... I honestly can't remember if I rated it as a yes please or as a curious.
Sadly, I don't remember covering it. Oh wait, I did. I'm mostly
curious.
Yeah. Mine was a low curious. I remember that now.
I'm a borderline curious and yes please, but we'll go curious.
Yeah. See, and mine's on the other end of it. So yeah, see, we meet in the middle.
There we go.
Alright, let's see here. Jungle Holocaust. We need more Jungle Holocaust, obviously.
I'm sure.
So, we got some W.C. Fields. So never give a sucker an even break. So a lot of his films are starting to get the Blu-ray treatment, which is kind of cool. It's his last starring role. So, plays himself in a take-off of eccentricities in filmmaking. It's a harum-scarum collection of songs, slapstick, and thumbnail sketches, the likes of which defy dramatic law. The focus of the story is on Fields' presentation of an imaginative script for the new picture of the Esoteric Pictures Incorporated. The script turns out to be the vehicle for himself, a hero who makes Superman look like a wimp. Yes. So, W.C. Fields is one of those old school comics. Now, he kind of falls in the lines of that Marx Brothers era.
And I'm intrigued that the frequent Marx Brothers co-star Margaret Dumont is actually in this. And she plays a character called Miss Hemoglobin.
I actually do have this film. I mean, W.C. Fields, to me, is somebody who is kind of underrated. When you think of the classics, you think of like Chaplin and the Marx Brothers, maybe like Sherlock Jr., stuff like that for the silent era, but you don't really, or the Three Stooges. But W.C. Fields is kind of left to the wayside. I love this set, and I would not really upgrade unless there was a Blu-ray version of this set. It's just such a cool set. You've seen it up close.
It is a cool looking set.
I mean, look at that stuff. I mean, I'm trying to see if this is the second of the two, but it's kind of cool to have it. I mean, to me, anything W.C. Fields should be a priority to anybody, just because it is awesome to have that stuff in your collection. So to me, it's a priority. I would, if I didn't have it already, I would be getting it.
Right. Well, see, this gets into that weird sticky thing of when you're talking about something that is part of collections that are desirable, does the actual movie itself get the same rating based? Because I'm not sure I would jump on this by itself, but I don't know. But I definitely, if I'm rating the movie independently of any actual physical release, just the movie itself, I will definitely say that I would consider it a yes, please, because I need some W.C. Fields, and this one does look fun. Yeah.
It is sad because a lot of the old ones you can see there was some desperation in it, the last ones, but because a lot of his popularity was waning in its later years. But it's still, I mean, it was still a good film. I enjoy most of his films. They're just enjoyable. I mean, it's one of the... It's sort of like, really, you should have W.C. Fields in a collection just like anything else. Just like Three Stooges, just like Laurel and Hardy, just like a lot of these. I mean, he was an icon. And one that's sometimes forgotten, I think.
Right. Okay. Next up, we have a movie called The Paleface, which is an old movie with Bob Hope and Jane Russell. And Jane Russell, and it's a Norman Z. MacLeod film, an old Western. Russell plays Calamity Jane, and Hope plays a character known as Painless Peter Potter. Say that 5 times fast. I don't believe I have ever seen this. Okay, it says, Calamity Jane is dispatched to find out who's smuggling rifles to the Indians, and winds up married to a hapless correspondence school dentist as part of her cover. So 3 guesses who Bob Hope plays. But anyway, I have actually seen a movie, I believe it was called The Son of Paleface. I saw it years ago, and I remember being thoroughly unimpressed by it. But it's one of those things, you know, when you see something as a kid, maybe if you were to revisit it later, you'd get more out of it, you know. I want to say that was actually a Bob Hope one. But I never have seen this particular one. And yeah, there it is, Son of Paleface. Came out 4 years later. I will have to note that it is an Oscar winner. It won for original song for the song Buttons and Bows. So that's a pretty well-known song there, if I remember correctly.
It won that year?
It did win. So I know that automatically raises its importance for you.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to say yes, please, if only because it's an Oscar winner, but Bob Hope's another one that you should probably have a little bit of his stuff in the collection just on principle, you know?
Normally, I don't like these because they bore me, these type of comedy westerns, but it would be a yes, please for me because of the Oscar win.
Right.
Oh, baby kitty. Okay, so the next one I've got here is a movie called The Ones Within.
Okay, that's an anime, I believe.
Oh, is it? Well, if it's an anime, I'll just get it here. I don't care. So, as you can see, it's a complete series. I don't know a lot about this series. It looks like another Funimation release. The typical $50 for, you know, series. It's a, how many episode? Looks to be 12 plus OVA.
Amusing image there.
Let's see here. So let's play to live. Akatsuki Iride is a popular live streamer for the game The Ones Within Genome. But when he and 7 others are transported into the game, the fantasy becomes a reality. Now the only way home is to beat each stage and reach 100 million views. So this would be like an isekai, wouldn't it? Or
this would be another isekai, yes. Although this one might actually be
Mine's
appropriate for us as YouTubers.
I mean, it looks like it tends to skew, this one skews more on the thriller edge, so that's got me curious.
I'm curious too, definitely.
I was more meh at the beginning, but I'm willing to look into it.
Near the bottom.
There
on
it
the other
is.
side. There you go.
Okay, Cat, please.
Okay. Now, speaking of curiosities, my next one is apparently a movie called Porno.
I figured you'd want that one.
Came out this year. I thought about it, but I don't know. When 5 teen employees at the local movie theater in a small Christian town discover a mysterious old film hidden in its basement, they unleash an alluring succubus who gives them a sex education written in blood.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
I really don't know for sure. I feel like this looks like it could be. It reminds me like it's in the same vein, probably, as that Deathgasm movie we watched. I don't know what I would make of this, but I am at least curious.
Yeah, I'm curious myself. It looks like I would watch it if it was like, you know.
It looks like something we will be doing on Movies Galore one day.
One day.
Let Mo do this. I see Mo or Dave putting that one forward, probably.
Speaking of porno.
Right.
Pure mellow love. Yep, see, until verification. This says absolutely not for children by Kitty Media, which means this is a hentai, it looks like.
A kiddie release, yeah, that makes sense.
Which normally we don't cover these, but this was actually put on with all the regular releases. So it has to, which, you know.
Okay.
So I'm not going to go over a lot of this because, you know.
It looks like it's 2 separate programs there.
Yeah, it's 2 separate programs coming together, and the neglected nympho and soccer stud.
Nice.
Well, so, you know, say what you will. It is what it is. It does what it's supposed to be. I guess that's the
yeah.
up there. I don't know. I'm not really. I would have to go with a meh for mine.
I'm going to have to say meh. I need more information with any of these programs, but I would not say hell no, because I would probably not give it away just on
it's like, somebody gave it to me, or if I saw it for $1, I might watch it out of pure interest or like curiosity at that point.
Right.
But yeah.
Okay. So next up is one that I do have an interest in. This is one that was on my radar vaguely, but I'd forgotten about it, and I kind of wish now that we had put this forward for our superhero month. But this is a movie directed by Craig Mazin and written by James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy fame, and it's called The Specials. The 6th or 7th best, I love that, the 6th or 7th best superhero team in the world pursue their rightful place in the harshly competitive world of toy tie-ins and fighting evil. I also love how toy tie-ins comes before fighting evil.
Now, it is available on Amazon.
Right.
But there is no picture of it there, which is why you see me on Google.
Okay, good times.
Did I put you? Yeah,
So,
on there.
This stars Jordan Ladd, Rob Lowe, Jamie Kennedy, Thomas Hayden Church, Paget Brewster, Sean and James Gunn, Judy Greer. I mean, that's a pretty fascinating cast right there.
It looks like it'd be fun.
It looks a lot of fun. I'm going to have to... Jenna Fisher's in there. I'm definitely... And Melissa Joan Hart. Wow. Okay, I'm definitely going to say yes, please, on this one.
You know, I have to give it that, because it does look like one I would have to eventually get a hold of. Yes. Meow. Uh-huh. Alright, we're getting close to the end.
Yes.
Snapdragon. I think that, yeah.
Yep.
Blu-ray. All right. It was on here. I just double checked to make sure it's on here. I've actually put locations where to find these. So Pamela Anderson, of course.
Of course.
So Snapdragon, a psychosexual thriller. Let's see here. After two men are murdered while having sex with a prostitute, as you do, Sergeant Peg Peckham is transferred from vice to homicide and assigned to investigate. Peg's determined to catch the killer and asks her police psychologist boyfriend, David Stratum, for a profile. In the meantime, David has become attracted to a new patient, an amnesiac who is having violent recurring dreams in which she murders her lovers. Although the connection to Peg's case seems obvious, Felicity doesn't fit the psychological profile, but David is becoming obsessed with the beautiful and possibly dangerous woman, putting himself and everyone around in danger.
Wait. Let me see that bottom part. Oh, the producer. Never mind. So the producer of Machete.
I'm sorry, the producer. That could be like they threw money at it.
That could be.
So yeah, I mean, I'll admit I'm curious, but it's a very low curious.
I'm curious, but I'm not sure. I might have to go meh on that one. But it's borderline.
No, we'll go meh, because I'm on the low end myself.
Okay.
Alright, next up.
Alright, next up we have what's probably on the other end of the spectrum in a lot of ways. A film called Starfish, which came out late in 2018. A unique, intimate portrayal of a girl grieving for the loss of her best friend, which just so happens to take place on the day the world ends. Written and directed by A.T. White. Co-stars stars Virginia Gardner. What I read about this is that it's different. That's what I read. And my takeaway is that it looks like it's supposed to have sort of a horror thriller vibe, but really it's more of a sci-fi drama per IMDb.
It looks indie.
It looks very indie. It looks like ultra indie.
I mean,
it could be very fascinating, and of course we like to support indie films on this channel, but I'm curious about it, but I'm not curious enough to be excited, so low curious.
I wanted to go curious. I would definitely grab it up if I saw it.
I like the cover art. I think that's a pretty neat little sort of a graphic novel vibe.
So when I first saw this, I said, "Oh, look, Reborn is getting a new release." Then I was disappointed.
Reborn.
See, there you go.
There you go. No, I've been waiting for that to go on sale really cheap, and it hasn't.
But unfortunately, it's this Reborn. Carrie meets Firestarter.
Wait a minute. Let me look that up real quick.
A stunning twist in the 70s and 80s horror classics. So, this one, a seedy Los Angeles hospital, a stillborn girl is brought back to life by an electrical storm and abducted by a morgue attendant. On her 16th birthday, empowered with the ability to manipulate electricity with her mind, electrokinesis, she escapes her captors and sets out to find her birth mother, leaving a trail of destruction behind her. Well, yes. I am curious, but nothing beyond that.
Well, this does co-star the daughter of Tommy Chong that starred in Quest for Fire, that very popular stream that we did for Movies Galore, Radon Chong. So that gives me a little bit of curiosity, but I'm going to have to go no higher than curious for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we're on the same page here.
Yeah. Okay, we probably won't be on quite the same page for the next one, but we have one here called Straight Shootin'. Well, that's pretty much it. But this is a film from 1917.
Wow.
Directed by John Ford and starring Harry Carey and Molly Malone. So those are some pretty well-known names there. 1917, it's barely feature length, but it technically is. And this is considered the earliest John Ford feature film. So for its historic value alone, I would say this has to be a yes, please. I don't know how much I would thoroughly enjoy a silent Western from the 19-teens, but I'm curious.
I'm on the curious end just because of the age.
Right.
If it was like a 50s Western or something like that, I would go down to meh, but it's got me to curious. I mean, that's an old one.
Well, like I said, the historic part of it being John Ford's first feature makes it a yes, please for me. But like I said, I think curious is a pretty decent compromise there.
So let's see. Return to Savage Beach.
Oh, yes, this group again.
So, we've got here The Big Guns Are Back.
Indeed.
So it looks interesting right there. I mean, you know, as you do.
Yes.
And let's see here. A stolen computer floppy disk filled with information about the location of a mythical treasure in Savage Island will lure both villains and lethal agents into a dangerous treasure hunt.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that sounds like suggested like Hard Hunted, you know?
Yeah. I like this user review. Can you believe it? It was watchable. High praise indeed.
So that one's going to be a meh for me.
Is that what we rated the first one in the series?
I can't remember.
No, we actually got that. I'm curious. I'm not sure that I see them as being all that different. I will say curious. Well, no, I kind of like the. Well, no, we'll do man. Why not? Why not? It's not like it's going to make or break it one way or the other. So once again, we have one we've already covered, but this time it comes with a friend. I had wondered why we were only doing season 1 of Strike Witches. Apparently, they decided the release date was incorrect and they wanted to put it out the same day as season 2 after all. So, we have essentials releases for seasons 1 and 2 this week. And we've already talked about Strike Witches. It's a fun series. We don't need to go into much more detail on this.
But where's the pants?
I know, the pants are fun. I can't remember for certain if I called this a yes, please before, but I think I did, and that's what I'll go. I need to get Brave Witches. I really do.
It's the only one of the series I'm missing.
Yeah.
But that's not... Yeah, that's an older release. That got essentials before any of the others.
Yeah, I know. They did that, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute. We need to go back to where we started. And, but yes. So definitely... I'm going to say yes, please, because it is a fun show. Really
yes, please, for me, because I would seek it out, so, yeah. All right. Next up, for me, is... I actually had to have Target up specifically for this one. Takeout.
Okay.
There it is. It was the only one that had a picture. And
I don't even remember seeing that picture.
I think it's in here. It might not be. No, that's not on our thing. Oh well, it should be, but it comes to.
Yeah,
Sometimes
if I had seen a hamburger crop circle, I think I would have been curious.
Let me see here. Yeah, I think it's because I couldn't find a picture for it that would allow me to save. So this one is sort of like it's an environmental documentary talking about farming and the burning of the rainforests, which was there, which I thought was pretty interesting and is definitely there. I mean, the reason why they show the hamburger obviously is because it's for that extra beef production and all of that. So to me, it's an environmental documentary. It's really up there. It's a high curious to a yes please for me.
I wish I had more information, but being an environmental doc, I think I can go yes please and be safe. I will want to see it regardless, but yeah.
All right, next up for you.
All right, Suburban Wildlife. And no, it's not Suburban Commando. Okay.
Hey,
so 2019 release.
Welcome, Adam Trischuk. Thank you for subscribing. I probably mispronounced your name.
Oh, very good.
Yes.
Okay, so my go?
Yeah, sorry. It was just, I figured why not talk to him since it's live while recording, you know?
Right.
Why not say, hey, welcome, you know?
Oh, we are recording? Oh, I guess so. Okay. Suburban Wildlife is an Imogen McCluskey directed film written by Imogen McCluskey and Beatrice Barbuscurla. Following the recent graduation, four friends distract themselves from the looming responsibilities of adulthood. As I understand, it's basically a road trip movie. I know very little about it. Again, looks like it might have sort of an indie vibe to it. It looks fun-ish, like it could be fun. I'm going to say curious.
Yeah, that was my take.
Yep.
All right, so one I actually have an interest in, which one I'm thinking we're going to vary widely on this one.
What would that be? Taking of Deborah
Logan. I have a feeling this is going to end up being a curious. I don't think it's going to be a hell no for you because it's not that gory. But it is a kind of a possession film where it shows this group that are... these people are using their cameras to film. I think it's found footage, if I remember correctly. I've seen this. It's actually really good. As they are filming this woman who's battling Alzheimer's for a documentary, and there's some strange occurrences happening. So there's kind of haunting and possession elements going on. It's actually quite creepy. It's pretty well done, and to me, it's a very fun horror film. It definitely is a yes, please from me.
I'm going to actually go curious on this.
Oh. It's not gory, oddly enough.
Right. It sounds interesting, but not something I would jump on. Yeah. But, you know, kind of like the next one is certainly not something I would jump on. And that is a movie called The Swing of Things. So... this is a movie with a 3.0 rating with 160 votes. That always bodes well. Comedy from this year. A groom-to-be accidentally books his destination wedding and honeymoon at a swingers resort in Jamaica. Because that always goes well. And you got Cord Overstreet, Olivia Culpo, Luke Wilson, etc., etc. I like Luke Wilson. I think he's a very likable dude, and he has had some good roles. Cord Overstreet has a great name. I'll give him that. I don't know that I would consider this a terribly enjoyable film, but I also don't know that it would be difficult to watch unless it's truly bad. So I can give it a meh. I would certainly accept it if it was given to me, and I might get it for $1 at the Dollar Tree.
I would say that. I could go with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I'm surprised that I only have 2 left. Huh. I must have miscounted.
I think I only have 3 left.
Let's see, you've got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3,
No, I have
and
4
4
left, sorry.
because you've got that criterion that
Yeah.
you...
Well, you are welcome to grab one of these if you want.
Cat, no. So here's one, actually I might grab, let me see what's left here. Would you rather have Thor or Teasing Master Takagi?
Considering I know nothing about that Thor, and I actually looked it up, couldn't find anything really. Did you?
Not really, other than it's computer animated. Well, why don't I go ahead then? End of Days. So Thor End of Days is coming out. It looks like a computer animated. Well, maybe not. Look at that. And again, it might be like one of those knockoff Thor movies. It kind of looks like that.
Right.
Loki plots to plague the universe, plunge the universe into darkness, poison the minds of innocent all across the 9 realms, killing his father Odin and the Guardians. Loki flees Asgard. The powerful but arrogant warrior god Thor pursues him, wreaking havoc among humans of Midgard. However, along the journey, he's rendered unworthy, waking on Earth without his mighty hammer. That sounds familiar.
It sounds very familiar.
I am... this looks like one of those that people basically said, ooh, we can just release this. I feel like this was an older film, but I could be wrong. But definitely is not in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No.
I am in a meh for that. But it's whatever.
Without more information, honestly, I have to go meh. I'd like to say curious, but yeah. But Thor was always a character that kind of bored me until Chris Hemsworth got a hold of him.
I wonder how this other guy who is on here, takes it. You know,
right?
You know, Mr. Various.
Right. So yes. Next up, we have one that annoyed me, but not the show itself didn't annoy me so much as well, I'm going to blame Funimation because this has happened before. We placed a very nice order once on Best Buy, whole bunch of Funimation products, obscenely cheap, and the order was simply canceled, and Best Buy didn't even bother to tell us. But this time around, Amazon put something up too cheap and canceled the order without bothering to tell us. But once again, it's a Funimation product, so I'm blaming Funimation. I think they're giving bad info to their vendors. But anyway, it's a Essentials release, right?
Yeah.
Essentials release of Karakai Josu no Takagi-san, or Teasing Master Takagi-san. Nishikata is a middle school student who has suffered humiliation due to being teased by Takagi, the girl who sits next to him. Since then, he has vowed to one day do the same to her and succeed in teasing her. I have to admit, I would have no more than a curiosity for this.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that we got that awesome pre-order that was canceled because someone goofed.
Oh, that would have been like... It would have been a priority at that time.
It would have been a priority simply because of price.
Yes.
But I will go with curious.
Yeah, I might look into it if it's in the 15 range, like some of these others have, if it goes on the sale. But otherwise, no.
See, now I'm spoiled. I want to get it for $7.
Yeah, see, now I'm like, I need to get it cheap. I need to get it at a deal. Otherwise, I feel cheated.
Yeah.
So let's see here. One that I know you're going to love.
Oh, yeah.
Tokyo Gore Police.
My favorite.
This is like a newer release called Lethal Force Edition, which is an interesting... it's a Tokyo Shock original film. Blood, guts, and guns are the new normal for the new police state. In the near future, the Tokyo Corporation wages a blood-splattered war with the Engineers, a genetically modified group of supercriminals. These mutant mobsters can biofuse and surgically implant weapons into their anatomy. It's very similar to Machine Girl... I can't think of the name. Machine Girl Yuki? Machine Girl something.
Yeah.
And it has a very tongue-in-cheek humor. This one's a little bit more humorous than that one was. So I'm not 100% on it. On how you would feel about it.
I don't know myself.
I really liked it when I watched it. I mean, I actually own a copy of this, and it's right here. And, you know, I mean, you could see some of the stuff on the back there. It's, like I say, I like the tongue-in-cheek humor that this one did. And
This wasn't the one you did show me, was it? You did one in this vein, I think.
It was one that showed, like, this advertising for razors, and they're advertising razors to these teenage girls for them to cut on themselves, which I thought was just like, God, that's terrible tongue-in-cheek. But but it amused me to a high point. If I didn't have it, it would be on a yes, please. It would be on my list.
I can't say hell no because there is that niggling curiosity, but I really don't know that I want to see this, so I'm going to go with nah.
Alright, so that actually is right in the middle of curious. Alright.
Okay.
So, almost done.
Next up we have a movie called Water and a Broken Glass. Tanya Mims is the successful artist who feels firmly footed in her rise to fame until her ascent is challenged in the most unexpected ways, etc., etc., etc. It has an 8.2 rating on IMDb based on 17 votes. I am curious. That's really all it is. I'm curious.
It's another one that there's no picture of it on Amazon.
I know.
So I'm curious, but you can order it through Amazon.
Right.
So let's see.
I think your count was off because there's 2 left there that are not on my list.
So yeah, we've got Lady Eve and the Ballad of Genesis and Lady J.
Right.
Well, we'll just
and the VHS.
Well, that one's on my list.
Yeah.
So why don't I go ahead and I'll take one of these, and then you can take that one.
Well, Lady Eve damn well should have been on my list.
Yeah. So I'll let you have that one. I'll go with the Ballad of Genesis and Lady J.
Okay.
The Ballad of Genesis, and there we go. I obviously looked it up. Sometimes they don't save the picture, which is probably why... Well, no, it saved the picture, so I don't know why it got that way. But this is the way it looks on here.
Is that the way it looks?
That's not the one that's there. That's the version that's out.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga has nothing on Genesis Bar Porridge. So let's see. 7 years in the making. Ballad of Genesis Lady J is an intimate, affectionate portrait of a celebrated filmmaker, Mary Lussier, chronicling the life and work of pioneering musician and performance artist Genesis Bear Porridge. It looks like, or P-Orridge. Starting with the innovative industrial music group Throbbing Gristle in the 70s, the underground video art outfit Psychic TV. So it looks like an interesting take on like kind of a documentary style. I am not all that interested in it. I'm more on a meh level.
I have to go now on this one too. It just doesn't grab me.
Almost has an absolutely fabulous feel to it, though.
Okay.
I don't know why.
All right. The next, my last one for this week is one that I am excited about, and this one is Criterion.
I didn't skip this one. You held it for last.
Yeah, I held it for last. Yeah. So this week is the Criterion really outdid themselves with a double release, not just Bruce Lee, but also The Lady Eve, an old Preston Sturges film starring Barbara Stanwyck and Henry Fonda. And it's a screwball comedy set aboard a cruise liner where Stanwyck plays a card sharp who basically decides to con a researcher who's played by Henry Fonda. And, of course, they end up kind of falling for each other and that sort of thing. And much like the Bruce Lee one, this one actually has some decent bonus features. Criterion brought their A game this week, apparently. And there is a Preston Sturges collection that I still want to get. But this now makes 3 of the films on that collection that have the Criterion treatment. I already have Sullivan's Travels. I may at this point just collect all the Criterion ones and then see what happens with the others. But this is a definite priority for me.
It's on a yes please for me.
Okay.
So there we go to there. All right, moving on because we are actually past...
strike witches.
So let's see here. VH yes, which is the only place I can find it is on here. Again, no picture on Amazon, but it is available on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, lovely. Oscilloscope Pictures will release on Blu-ray Henry Rollins comedy VHS, starring Carrie Kenny, Thomas Lennon, and Mark Prokosh.
Also apparently has Tim Robbins, Susan Sarandon, and Charlene Yee in it.
And I don't know, have you ever actually heard any of Henry Rollins' comedy or stand-up?
No, I don't believe so.
Oh, he is hilarious. He really is. With that, it's definitely curious for me.
I'm going to have to go curious, too. I mean, especially just, it sounds like an interesting thing.
So, with that, we're going to have to rush. So,
yes.
We're technically supposed to be starting the vlogcast right now. I'm glad I put it 8:30 to 9 as my timeline. Any case, with that, I think that's everything. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we got an interesting assortment this week.
So,
a little heavier on the hot priorities than usual.
So let's see here. So new. So we're going to download that image to our stuff right here and our SeptumSin versus the world. So this time I am definitely downloading that image. All right. So with that being said, we will see you on the next one.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.